All right, my clock says 7 o'clock, so this time I'd like to call the February 10th, 2025 regular Board of Trustees meeting to order. Would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under indivisible with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mr. Houston, would you please take the roll call?
Good evening, everyone. Mr. Stubbs?
Here.
Dr. Cross?
Here.
Mr. Potter?
Here.
All are present.
All right, thank you. We're going to get a little out of our normal order tonight. We have Carl Keith from the Montgomery County Auditor's Office here to make a presentation.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm happy to join you this evening and be here for your meeting. Always enjoyed coming out here to when Edis, when your K-9 Edis was active, we'd always come out here to meet Edis, and I miss Edis, so I'm glad to know that he's doing well and enjoying his best life. He was always fun to be around, and some of the members of my staff would play ball with him, and he's kind of just threw him around the room, you know. But anyway, I'm happy to be here for another reason, and that's to recognize your fiscal officer, Mark Houston, for as the winner of our what we call the Jesse Haynes Outstanding Fiscal Officer Award this year. Jesse Haynes, for those of you who don't know, Jesse Haynes is the longest, known as being the longest serving county auditor in history. He served county auditor for 28 years, and that was after he had a career as a Major League Baseball player. He's from Phillipsburg, he's from Montgomery County, played for the St. Louis Cardinals, and after he retired as a Major League Baseball player, he came back to Montgomery County and ran for county auditor and served as county auditor for 28 years. Now, he is a Hall of Fame baseball player. Played for the St. Louis Cardinals and won a couple of world championships, and has the distinction of being known as one of his games. He struck out both Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig back to back. So again, he's a Major League Hall of Fame baseball player and Hall of Fame county auditor. And so we started this award several years ago, named it the Jesse Haynes Award, to recognize fiscal officers throughout the Montgomery County who have excelled and have distinguished themselves in the work that they do, because it's an important job. And as you all know, it's an important job, and what they do really serves as the glue in our communities, and we appreciate their work. Mark Houston was nominated by the member of the Board of Trustees here for his work, and we appreciate what they had to say. I mean, I could read some of this, Mark, but suffice it to say that they hold you in very high regard for the work that you do here in German Township, not only as a fiscal officer, but as a member of the community. And so I think that's significant. And so we were happy to present Mark with the Jesse Haynes Award back a month ago in Dayton. But we wanted to come out to the trustees meeting and be able to do this and recognize him in front of the trustees. So Mark, please come up. And this is your second term. You're in your second term as fiscal officer. So we appreciate your work and appreciate your commitment to excellence. And we know it's a tough job, but we know it's in good hands, and you're doing a great job, and we appreciate you. So congratulations.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you for the work you do. And we want to get some pictures, right? Pictures?
Do you?
Where do you want us? Where do you want us?
Do you want the logo?
Oh, yeah, let's go.
Once it's on
When we
TV.
came here, when we came here and got pictures of Edis, Edis always got up here so we could get the logo behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. No reflection off of the.
Right, nice job, guys.
Thank you so much. Your community is in good hands, and it's a good thing for the community to know that he's doing it.
Mr. Stubbs, I found out, is my nominator.
Did you all want to get?
I don't think the other two even knew.
Well, apparently he didn't even know when he got up there.
He was surprised. He was very surprised. You were in the picture with
Passed out.
He was very surprised. So we're gonna do a picture with the trustees here too.
Okay. That was great. We all fit in. Do we need to scoot down, Andy?
How we doing?
Good?
Just a little to the right. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Me next, me next. All right.
All right. Thank you.
Mark.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good job. Good job. Thank you.
Thanks for coming. You guys can stick around unless you just really like coming to
We're
meetings.
gonna
Okay.
head home.
Absolutely.
Thank
Appreciate you coming.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Tell Edith we miss.
I will. It's good seeing you.
Yes, you got supposed to be here.
There's 91.
Thank you, sir.
They said, they didn't say this month. They said they would try.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, good.
No, so they did not say this month. All right, congratulations, Mr. Heaston. Well-deserved award, and thank you to Auditor Carl Keith for coming out here and presenting that to him tonight.
Thank you for nominating me.
Oh, well-deserved.
Well-deserved.
Well-deserved. So, with that, we'll move into visitor comments. Does anybody have any visitor comments for tonight?
Does that mean why we're here?
If you have anything to address the board.
That's it.
So, yeah, just come up to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Oh, okay. Name's Janet Anderson,
Okay?
10622 EB Road, Germantown. Mark, I went to school with your brother Paul. Congratulations.
Thank you. Were you in his class? What was your name then?
Lamb.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yes. I missed it
Okay.
earlier.
We own an acre beside where we live. We've owned it since 85. She put a tax assessment on our bill, on our real estate taxes for trash for $366. And I'm here to make sure that comes off.
Do we have a resolution?
Yep, it's already being taken.
And I was told it has to be voted on, you guys to tell her to take it off tomorrow. I couldn't even pay my taxes without that being removed.
It was one of the properties where Rumpke was charging us.
Right.
Yeah.
And there was a whole misunderstanding. I did not know, at the time, I did not know if it was an empty field. And then there was a mix up with the addresses.
Yeah.
We've got it figured out, but yes, we have to take it off. Me and Mark have already discussed it and we have a resolution.
So it will be off by the time it's due on Friday.
We're gonna pass the resolution tonight and then they'll send it into the
I will
county
email it to.
tomorrow.
They wouldn't let me pay it until it's taken care of.
Yeah,
Okay.
apologies for the mistake. We have had some troubles with Rumpke assessing properties.
I understand.
So
I
it
understand.
slipped through.
She said a letter was sent out, but we never received anything to go pick up a registered letter.
So it must have not had is it just a parcel and didn't have?
We have an acre that we've owned since 85 with no house or anything on it.
So, yep, we've got that on for tonight, so we will get that taken care
You
of.
want to take care of it now?
We can, we
or
can.
you
Is this the,
If you do it at this point, it will be resolution number 18.
this is the law?
That way the Andersons will see that it's accomplished
Yeah,
before
absolutely.
and then they can leave if they want to.
Yep.
But
Was
they're
this,
welcome to stay, of course.
was this the only property?
Okay.
Was this the only property
Mhm.
to do? Okay. All right, I'll introduce resolution 2025-18, a resolution to revoke the assessment of a property owner who was previously deemed to be delinquent as to waste disposal service charges pursuant to the Ohio Revised Code 505.33. Let me read the whole thing. Mark, do you want me to read the whole thing?
I would recommend you read it.
Okay, whereas
The Andersons will know exactly what you're asking.
Whereas the German Township Board of Trustees established a solid waste collection and disposal district for unincorporated area of German Township by Resolution 98-04 on January 12th of 1998 pursuant to ORC 505.27 and 505.28. And whereas the German Township Board of Trustees contracted for waste removal pursuant to ORC 505.27 and established a fee for waste disposal service to be invoiced to all owners of improved properties within the unincorporated areas of German Township. And whereas each owner of the improved property was invoiced quarterly for this waste removal, whereas the owners of property 10640 EB Road, parcel number D14-00912-0029. Is that correct? Were deemed to be delinquent on their waste disposal service in excess of $150 and were notified on August 21st of 2024 by certified mail to pay delinquent amounts for assessment of these delinquent charges for waste disposal. Services would be placed on their property tax duplicate or collection pursuant to ORC 505.33. Whereas on September 9th, 2024, resolution 2024-61, the German Township Board of Trustees certified that a list of owners of improved properties and descriptions of the land on a list of attached to the resolution, including this parcel, were delinquent as to disposal services charged. Whereas resolution 2024-61, the German Township Board of Trustees requested that the county auditor place charges totaling $35,652.59, not to you, but to everybody, and associated fees on the tax duplicate for each property on the list for collection. Whereas the charges certified to the county auditor for parcel D1400912-0029 totaling $364.70. Whereas one of the owners of that property has asserted that the property at 10640 EB Road was vacant, and covered by the tax assessment, and has asked for the assessment to be revoked.
Second.
Now therefore, it does keep going. Now therefore, the German Township Board of Trustees resolves that the board has determined that the owners of parcel D1400912-0029 were not delinquent as to the waste disposal service charges previously certified to the Montgomery County Auditor. Section 2 requests that the Montgomery County Auditor remove the $364.70 assessment and associated fees for that parcel on the tax duplicate for collection.
Could you repeat that?
I'll give you a copy.
That's okay. Thank you.
Is there any discussion of the resolution?
No.
All right, I'll call the roll. Mr. Stubbs?
Yes.
Dr. Cross?
Yes.
Mr. Potter?
Yes.
Hey,
Sorry?
sorry for the confusion. I'm glad we were able to take care of it for you tonight. And if you do want a copy of this, you're more than welcome to have it with you. Okay.
Okay, we have 3 yeses. So resolution 2025-18 is adopted.
I had to read all that, Jake.
Thank you very much. That should make.
This closes life a little bit easier tomorrow.
Well, we'll see.
Are there any other visitor comments tonight? Hearing none, and anybody online have a comment? No. Okay, so we'll go ahead and move into the fiscal officer's report.
Before I start, we have also with us tonight
A Valley View senior, Sierra Atkins. Sierra has applied for a scholarship through the Ohio Township Association. And one of the requirements for her to apply for that scholarship was to attend one of our meetings. So we wish you luck. We've never, to my knowledge, had a winner out of German Township. So we hope you're our first.
So too.
and I will see you in a week or 2 on stage.
Yes, you will.
Good, welcome. All right, let's move on. I don't have a whole lot tonight, so we can probably do it fairly quickly. First of all, I've given you the minutes for January 13th. Are there any additions or corrections?
I did not see any
If
change.
there are none, could I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much.
Just appreciate that was a lot of work for you.
Some meetings are harder than others.
Okay, also I've given you our normal monthly financial reports. These are for January, of course. You have the fund status. The year to date, which is actually the same as the month, cash summary by fund, the January receipts and the January payments. And I do want to note 2 items.
One is voucher number 7.
For $45,184.75 to Montrose Ford. That is our new 2025 Ford Explorer Cruiser. I realized I forgot to turn on my video, so there we are. Now you can see me. And secondly, during January, I transferred the following amounts from the general fund as you approved last month. $8,000 went to the Road and Bridge Fund for the 2025 maintenance of the Township Hall and the rural cemeteries. $37,400 consisting of $16,000 police fund, $16,300 to the police fund, $16,300 to the gasoline tax fund, and $4,800 to the trash fund is to help offset the allocation of trustee and fiscal officer salaries to those funds. Excuse me. Thirdly, $35,500 consisting of $25,600 to the police fund, $6,900 to the road and bridge fund, and $3,000 to the road levy fund. That transfer approximated the 2024 Star Ohio interest that would have been earned by those funds had such earning been allowed by the state. And those three transfers out of the general fund totaled $80,900. Is there any questions about the financials? If not, could I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Wait a minute, I'm sorry. That motion, let's backtrack. Mr. Stubbs, that motion has to authorize payment of January bills. And I've given you the information.
Okay.
Let's do that motion
Yep,
again.
sure. I will introduce a motion to approve the January financial reports and authorize the payments of January bills, warrants 50821 through 50828, and vouchers 1 through 95 for payroll, direct deposit, tax withholdings, and other electronic payments.
I will second that.
Thank you, gentlemen. I should have mentioned that as I asked for the motion.
That's okay.
Any discussion? Now let's vote again. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. I have now completed the 2024 annual financial report, and I've submitted the financial statements and the footnotes to the Ohio Auditor of State. This is our NIFR auditors. I also gave you a copy of the financial statements. A notice of the availability to review the annual report here at the Township Hall was published in the Germantown Press last week on February 6th. I've also asked actually you've done that. Ms. Close has already posted then the 2024 annual report on the homepage of the Township's website. There was also a hyperlink on the website homepage to access the Township's financial transactions on the Ohio Checkbook website. And from what I can see online, they're still in the process of uploading that information onto the website. But it should be available shortly. All the prior years for the last 6, 7 are also on the Ohio Checkbook if anyone is interested. Moving ahead, I filed with the Board of Elections your resolution approving placement of a 4.0 mil 10-year fire EMS levy on the May ballot. The levy's been accepted and the ballot language was approved by the state. It is almost identical to the prior levy this past November, with the exception, of course, of noting that it's a 10-year levy versus it being a continuous levy. I understand that there is scheduled an initial meeting of a committee to help promote the levy, and that is scheduled for next Tuesday, February 18th at 5 o'clock at the Germantown Service Building on Walnut Street. Anyone interested here in the audience online is welcome to attend. Any of us elected officials or township employees, you have to do it on your own time, out of uniform, and ask private citizens. At last month's meeting, Mark Keener, the treasurer of the Valley View Joint Economic Development District Board of Directors, gave me a copy of the JED's preliminary 2025 budget. In that, it estimates that 2025 payments to the township from the JED will be $44,660. I did not have this information when I prepared our 2025 general fund budget. And in that, I estimated JED receipts at 60,000. So clearly I overestimated the revenue, but that could certainly is still just an estimate. We'll see where it actually turns out. A reminder, as I will do every month for you, that all of the township's web content and mobile applications will need to be compliant with new Department of Justice disability accessibility requirements by April 26th of 2027. And I previously gave you the link to a fact sheet concerning these new Department of Justice rules that's available on the Civil Rights Division website. And finally, I sent the Montgomery County Auditor the township's 2025 certificate of the total amount of all resources available. Excuse me. The auditor uses this report to prepare our township's official certificate of estimated resources. And unless there are any questions, I am done.
Back to number 8, cemeteries in the process of getting a software development and a website, and we've asked them if that's something they can do to make our website. We have not got a response back yet, so,
That's a good first start.
yeah, because they're doing ours anyway.
How many townships and cities actually know this must be updated? Because you haven't heard anything else about it except.
I've not read a word about it, but certainly the townships are all notified by the OTA. This is a nationwide requirement.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say that this current administration might not back off on that. But at this point, we don't know that it's anything other than required.
So actually, while we're developing ours, Keith went ahead and told them about the requirement because we knew about it here. To make sure when they develop our website, it's compliant with
They were
how
aware
we need it to
of
be, so.
Good.
Yeah, our cemetery one will be, and the question's in to see if they can either handle ours or make it so we'll find out. So there'll be an update in the future on that.
We've got plenty of time.
Yeah.
Don't want to forget it.
Right.
Nice first step.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the process of working with them anyway, so I just seemed like an easy question to ask.
Thank you for handling that I assume when you did that in Columbus or?
No, the cemetery board, because we're having the website developed for the cemetery and the software developed. The company that does that, we've got a question into them.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you did it through the OTA.
What this kind of cost the cemetery? Yeah, I don't have that. 14,000 for all the software and the website development. And to get all of our information put into their system and including a GPS of because they're gonna come in and do the whole thing.
Find out where people are.
So, yeah.
Good.
Great.
It's good.
Any positive step is
But
forward.
we'll see. Hopefully next month I'll have something they tell us they can or can't, or send us in a direction. So.
Someone who can, maybe.
Yeah.
All right.
Is that all?
That's it for me. Thank you.
All right, we'll go ahead and move on to Chief's report.
Let's see, the month of January, officers drove 7,279 miles. We answered 93 dispatches, closed 91 calls for service, and we did 16 case follow-ups. We arrested one person. We had 437 business checks, 121 vacant house checks, and 1,018 occupied house checks. We had 4 crashes, 25 traffic stops, and 15 citations. The only thing I have is a request for approval to move forward with a budgeted purchase of a new police interceptor unmarked vehicle. I submitted 3 bid requests and had 2 returned. Fortunately, one of the 2 that returned the bid request was a state bid. Montrose Ford again, their bid was $44,367. Lebanon Ford was $45,505. And then safety systems upfit on that would be $4,411. The total being $48,778.93. And I think we budgeted 50,000 for that this year.
50 or 55.
So
Give us an emotion on that.
Motion or resolution?
Let's do a resolution. Because it's a major expenditure.
What was the
It'd be
number?
number 19.
All right, I'll introduce resolution 2025-19, a resolution to purchase a 2025 Ford SUV Police Interceptor unmarked from Montrose Ford, including upfitting, will be $48,778.93.
I'll second that.
Any discussion of the resolution?
Call the roll. Mr. Stubbs?
Yes.
Dr. Cross? Yes. Mr. Potter?
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution 2025-19 is adopted.
that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Chief. Jeremy.
I have a few things on my agenda tonight. Some of them are listed and some of them are not. First thing I'd like to do is congratulate Mr. Easthand on his award. I think that was well deserved. Second thing, Scott and I have been starting to find more and more potholes popping up with the warm and cold temperatures and the freeze and thaw. So we've been patching those as they come about. Wanted to let the board know if they see any, please give me a call or let me know. We'll try to get them repaired as soon as we can. We have had a few snow and ice events since the last meeting. We pre-treated before the last ice event and seemed to work out pretty well. So got that taken care of early in the late evening so that when that ice started freezing, we didn't have any issues with the roads. And I talked to some of the officers the next day and I don't think they had any issues the day after that. So that's a good thing. A couple things on not listed. I started investigating about the OTAs Service Corps joining with Amazon to get free business prime and doing some research on that. Currently, we pay $139 a year for our Amazon Prime membership. And I guess they were handing these out at the OTA. And from what I can see, it's a temporary thing. It's free for the first 60 days. Then it goes to $69 for the first year. And then it goes to $179 for every year after that. So I signed up for a webinar on this coming Wednesday with the OTA and a representative from Amazon Business to see if indeed this Prime membership is free forever or it's introductory or whatever. So I'm trying to take care of that.
Can you give me those amounts again in the period of time?
Currently we pay $139. It's free for 60 days. Then it goes to $69 a year for the first year. And it goes to $179 a year after that.
Okay, thank you.
So on that, I went to the session on that. They said, this is what they said, and I've got one of those too. It's free for the first year, but they can only do 1 year membership.
Okay.
But as long as they're in contract with the OTA, it will be free going forward.
Okay.
So for the foreseeable future, as long as OTA is, because they're grouping it all together, and that's why we're getting the best. It's going to be the highest level of business pricing too.
Business Prime.
Business Prime. I mean, the people from Amazon were in the thing, and they're the ones that said it's free for the first year, and then it will continue to be free as long as OTA is in contract with them. At which point we'll be able to cancel if OTA was.
Well, the only problem, and this was going to be one of my questions for the webinar on Wednesday, was from what I read on Amazon site is once you go from the Prime membership, just a straight up Prime membership, and go to the Business Prime, you can't go back.
Okay.
So once you go from the 139 to the Business Prime, which normally costs most businesses 179, from what I read, you couldn't go back to having a regular Prime membership
Okay.
at 139. So that would be one of my questions on Wednesday. So just, I know Mark had said something to me about it and I was doing the research on it. So the other item that wasn't on my agenda, and I apologize for this because I just saw it on my email this evening and kind of rushed in a little early and got a resolution put together. Mr. Branham, who lives in the Sunbury Cemetery, or Sunbury subdivision in German Township, has requested that the Board of Trustees vacate an alley in Sunbury. Now, the majority of alleys in Sunbury are not used as alleys, or if they are, we haven't maintained them since I've been here, which is roughly 30 some plus years. So I put together a resolution, and if you want, I can kind of show you map, wrap. This is misleading because this is Sugar Street. And all these lots, there's just two houses. There's the new house here, and the guy that drives the semi truck, we're him, owns this property. And there's the house right here. Brandon lives here. His mom and dad used to own all of these and they sold off 25. But the septic system for 26, 27, 28 is on 25. So now the county is requiring them to move the septic system, which they own all of this property, which they'd have to cross this alley. So they wanted us to vacate that alley so that it become part of their property. So if you're going to vacate one, why not vacate four? So I'm planning on asking the county commissioners to vacate this alley, this alley, this alley, and this alley, because they serve no purpose for the road department or the general public. So that's what we're going to be requesting the county commissioners to do. And I put together a resolution. We can pass that tonight or wait if you guys would like to take a look at things. It's no rush.
I think we better have it run through legal counsel. Wasn't there an issue like a year or two ago vacating something in Sunbury?
That's if the property would not have public access after vacation.
Okay.
But since all of those are surrounded by public streets,
So
you vacate any of these, they're going to be
They still have
accessible off of Arch or Sugar. This doesn't really matter because they still have road frontage. Same here, you vacate all of this, all of these have Arch Street access, Sugar Street access. You vacate this, they still have road frontage.
Okay.
Both Sugar. The one that we had problems with, Cherry Street, there was a big hunk of land up here that if you vacated the street, they'd have no way of getting to that property.
But wasn't there I knew that, we just did another one where they were trying to build the houses across the street and the road's not there, but the
They
easement,
did get that vacated.
they did get that.
They did get
Okay.
the old State Route 4 right of way vacated.
Okay, I didn't know
Yes.
it finally,
Yes.
or I don't remember it finally going through.
Yes. I got
So who owns the alley once we vacate? If
it.
we,
It's split down the center and divided between the two property or the property owners.
So if it's all owned by Branhams, they would own.
But it'd be separated to the two lots.
Yes.
Adjacent.
Yes. Yeah. The lots would get
10 feet wide or whatever.
Yeah, 6 feet wide or 6 feet wider, because I think the right of way is like 12 feet. It's something ridiculous amount. Yeah, 12 feet. So 6 feet would go to each one of the adjoining properties.
And do the property owners need to pay anything to have that deed changed? Because it gets combined with their current deed. It isn't a separate parcel.
No, it just gets absorbed into, because they own to the center of the road anyway.
So all we're
The
doing
right of way just goes away.
is taking away the right of way.
Yeah, the public interest of that piece of property goes away. Now, that does not affect easements for utilities. So if there is any easements, that vacating the alley does not get rid of that easement for utility companies. If they have phone, electric, whatever in that right of way. They still have legal access to maintain that. But it's just not a publicly owned piece of right of way. And we don't have to maintain it. So
Is it navigable right now, those alleys?
some are, some aren't. The one that Mr. Branham is most interested in, which is between,
Or south one?
yeah, it'd be the south one between 28, 29, and 36 and 37. I think there's actually trees growing up in the center of the right of way. So could not drive from one end to the other. So. But if you want
Do
me
you
to,
think we need to, or is this?
it'd probably be wise.
It's okay.
So
then we can
cover our bases.
Yeah, I
And
feel like just to make sure we're covered.
okay. Yeah, like I said, it's not a rush, but I did want to put it before the board to, that way you know what's going on.
Yeah,
I'll send a copy of it to Victoria Watson with Montgomery County Engineer's Office. She's in the real estate department. She can review it, and then I'll also send a copy to you
yeah.
and
Perfect.
have her review it as well.
Perfect.
So,
Okay.
and then I'll bring that to the next board.
I think that's our best bet.
That's all I had.
All right, thank you, Jeremy. Shauna. Oh, hold on.
Abigail Hill Dennis, 13091 Oxford Road. I just want Mr. Holbrook to know how much we appreciate you doing the roads like you did, because EP Hill can get so dicey. And that Friday, I had a fun time on Route 4, but when I got to EB, it was clear and I got straight down it, and I know it takes a lot of work, hours to get out there, so let you know how much we appreciate it.
That's on my side of the township, so I try to put it to at Siegel and even.
People can't drive that intersection anyway.
Oh, true.
They should
But
have to take a driving test to get through it.
you think it's bad going down in a car? I tried going down it in a dump truck, carrying about 8 tons of salt. It gets real dicey.
But it's
But I appreciate it. Thank you.
that and Siegel Hill, because Siegel
Yep.
Road in Oxford's getting real dicey with everybody running into each other.
Oh, yeah.
So, just appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Especially starting to.
One more question, yeah, before we move on from that. I know it's not our road, but the county just closed
Astoria.
Astoria.
Did it close today?
They're.
I didn't
if
see a
it's
sign
in the
there.
morning, I think. It's in the morning.
The detour signs were up
These are
earlier.
signs are up.
So do we have,
Road closed.
do they communicate with us? Do we have any idea how long or?
At least a year.
Oh,
Well, did not realize that.
They're currently trying to get what's the word? Contractor, somebody who comes up with a plan.
Engineer?
No, yeah, consultant, thank you. They're getting a consultant to help them put together a plan, and then they apparently have to get approval from the Corps of Engineers. They haven't even talked to the property owners yet. They have to actually buy the property that they are going to need to, because that slope is so long and so high, the area will be outside the public right of way. So they have to buy that right of way so that they can rebuild that slope.
So Astoria is gonna be closed from Harris to Siegel or,
Mud
Mud
Lake,
Lake.
Oxford,
that-
yeah. The hill.
because it's being worn away or whatever.
There's a slip, what's called a slip is where the ground just slides into the.
So that's
creek.
why it's gonna be such a big.
For about a year, but
totally closed.
I like to run that road.
You could probably run
We don't
Still
recommend it.
around the equipment. So it'll affect Kurt. He lives on Harris.
Mhm.
Nice and quiet.
What does that do to Harris Road long-term with heavier traffic, more traffic and heavier vehicles?
I'm not happy about this, but I mean, they originally, I got a call from a gentleman with the county engineer's office letting me know about the detour and all this, and they had set Harris Road up as the detour, which I told them, no way, that cannot be the public detour, because Harris Road is unlined. It's like 16 feet wide, it's chip seal, it's rough. That's not the road. I said, you need to send them down Brown's Run to Brent. Brent is, 20 some feet wide. It's got center line and edge lines. That's so they were gonna take that into consideration. They were apparently going out today to inspect the detours and the slip and several other things. Now, the problem I see is even though Harris is not the detour, the posted detour, that's gonna be the detour that people in the know take. Or people with GPS that, take me the shortest distance. So Astoria Road doesn't get a great deal of semi-traffic, but there's gonna be a truck or two get on that. So I'm gonna talk to the county engineer about damages from excessive traffic on Friend, if they change it to Friend, which I'm hoping they will, and what's called a de facto detour, which will be Harris. So hopefully if I let them know in advance, say, look, we're going to be taking some pictures of this road and the condition. And if it gets totally trashed, we're going to need some assistance in repairing it. And we ran into the same problem when the state closed 725 Bridge. They all used Mudlick and Siegel and they just got destroyed. And
Same thing happened with Moyer too.
yeah, in Moyer when they did the culvert out on 725. And everybody, the state was like, well, that wasn't supposed to detour. But it doesn't matter that, it's a proven fact that this is what it looked like before, this is what it looked like after. So hopefully by putting them on notice with this de facto detour, that the county engineer will, if there is any damage, hopefully there isn't, rather than not be, but if there is, then they will assist the township repairs necessary to either Friend or the de facto, which will probably be Harris.
Wetzel.
Would we be within our legal authority to put barriers at the corner of Oxford and Boomershine, saying that Harris is a local road only, no through traffic, anything to that effect?
That would be the township can close a road, but if it's closed more than 24 hours, it has to be done by resolution.
We
Now,
the
we
number,
can do that, and I'd have to ask the county engineers the legalities, if, closed or through traffic. It's something that we could look at.
I think and we need the same thing at Astoria and Harris, the same kind of signage. But I think it's going to be a liability potentially with such a narrow road and bumpy up and down or accidents. And we already heard from residents about the speed problem.
Yeah, then the speed limit is 55.
I think we should do something proactive, even if it doesn't stick. I don't know what the trustees think. I mean, I don't get a vote, but I would love to be able to say no through traffic.
But even then,
People are gonna go around it.
yeah, you can't totally block the road because your people that live on us or Harris are still going to need access.
But you could block one lane of the road, maybe. On each end of Harris.
Now, and that will also be
Or
a
you,
ticketable offense. If you pull somebody over and you say, hey, where do you live? Oh, I live on XYZ. Oh, you don't live on Harris, you're driving on a closed road.
only take a couple of those before Facebook would be full of, stay off that road.
Are you trying to fill up our meeting hall next month?
Yeah, you're going to hear about it.
I think they'd mainly be outsiders from the township.
I will talk to the county engineer about that.
Meanwhile, would a proactive resolution tonight, even if it can't be enforced, be helpful?
I think I'd rather wait and make sure we're covered legally
Around
again.
spinning
I
our
don't want
wheels,
to,
yeah.
you can add that to a news questions.
That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Jeremy. Thanks for the extra information as well.
Does that add more people like patrolling Oxford then? Because we get somebody in our yard in that S curve on a good day. So, I mean, if there's more traffic, would there be more checking for speed on Oxford or?
We will do everything we can. We have 37 square miles.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
it's just,
difficult. Yeah. We'll do everything we can.
You gotta be careful out running too. If you're gonna have high speed, extra traffic coming down through. So I've seen you out running. in the
I'm pretty
mornings.
well lit.
You are actually very well lit when you
I
run.
have my little taser thing that I put the flashlight into their car if they don't slow down.
Okay,
But Oxford, yeah, my road's gotten bad right there.
yeah, okay. Right in the curve there, they come flying through.
Last people left us some boards that they used to get out.
I think we need a ditch, deeper ditch on that road.
So, yeah.
We'll
so
put a
big
moat
rocks.
around.
Well, there is a big stump there and I do worry about somebody hitting that.
Yeah.
Or the garbage.
Yeah, my son's replaced his mailbox twice in the last 2-3 years, so same thing. People are just out of control.
All right, Shauna.
I don't have much. January was slow as far as permits. BZA is picking up. We're gonna have a busy spring, I think. Only had one permit, which was an ag exempt barn on Preble County Line Road. The regular meeting of the German Township Zoning Commission was supposed to be last week, February 4th, was canceled due to illness. I think everybody is sick right now. We have yet to set a rescheduled date, but I will put it out there as soon as we do. There will be a BZA hearing for case number 2025-03V on March 11th at 7 PM. This is concerning a couple parcels on Oxford Road that the owner wants to recombine into one parcel. But that is it. That's all I got.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll move on to trustee reports. Mr. Potter.
I don't have much either tonight. So for the park, we had no park board meeting due to the weather. MMI, we had a meeting. Not much going on there due to the weather. The MMI park sign is done. That's going to go on to the boulder. Just waiting on good weather to get it mounted to the boulder. We had no pool meeting in January. I spent 2 days up at the OTA conference, enjoyed the trade show, and at the workshops that I attended was well informed. And congratulations, Mr. Mark. We much appreciate you.
Thank
If you only got to go 20 years to get the same as 28 years, you're
My two fiscal officers before me, yeah, I will be well past 90 at that point. So I don't think you want me here then.
yeah.
All right, is that all? All right, thank you, Mr. Potter. Dr. Cross.
Quick again, thank Mark for all you do, Mark. It's a lot of work and you do it well. I attended the 2025 OTA conference on Wednesdays and Thursdays. I want to thank Mr. Heesed for driving those 2 days. I attended the Germantown Council meeting on 2/3/2025. The highlights, there's going to be 2 new eating establishments to be opening soon. One is Parkside Pizza. I'm not quite sure where that's going to go. And the other one is Lady Margarita's Mexican Bar and Grill. And I think that's going to go where the El Ranche, or whatever.
Parkside was already there.
It's just a new owner.
New owner of Parkside.
Oh, so it's staying where it is.
Yeah.
Which is where?
Down at the bottom of the hill down here. It used to be Captain 9.
Kinder family on Parkside from.
Now I know. They passed an emergency ordinance creating a creek bank erosion fund. That's gonna be $10,000 per year for the creek maintenance. So I'm not sure exactly.
That's the maintenance fund.
Yeah. So who's gonna decide if we need to spend that or
Who's going to decide that?
decide, yeah.
Um,
Is that gonna be the parks?
no, it's got nothing to do with the parks really.
Uh-huh.
It's just the city fund. That's the same thing that I tried to get the township to do with the $10,000 a year to have a joint to do maintenance. Maintenance. Which, hopefully they had already, established to do that beforehand. So they have some of their own maintenance they have to take care of.
Okay.
Yeah, but that'll be just a city thing. Unless we get our maintenance.
We decide, yeah. So the city hired a downtown event coordinator. Philip Isaac Morton was appointed to the Parks Board. Stephen Bader was appointed to the Pool Board. And again, Rob Traper, which we talked about last time, was appointed to the Fire Oversight Committee. And that is all I have. Thanks, Joe.
All right, thank you,
Dr.
Dr.
Cross, did you need to see a chiropractor after being in my car 2 days?
I told Jeremy how much fun it was getting out of the car the first day.
You take
And I
a,
parked in a parking garage where he was uphill too.
So he had to climb out.
take a box of butter next time.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mark.
All right, I just have a few things tonight. Cemetery update. As we here at the township have applied to be an America 250 community, I've reached out to them as well, to America 250, to see if the cemetery can join as well. I did that last week. I haven't heard back yet, which is kind of surprising.
They're terrible at returning
Oh,
email.
are they? Okay. Okay. So maybe I'll reach out again. One of the interesting things, because I attended the OTA as well, up there, the session I was in on, specifically on cemeteries, they are expecting a large number of people to attend historical cemeteries in next year for the 250th anniversary or the 250th birthday of America. Historical cemeteries with Revolutionary War soldiers, which Germantown Union Cemetery does have a few. But with that comes the opportunity to apply for grant funding for the entities involved as well. What the people up there had suggested or believe to happen is if the cemeteries are well-traveled with people that don't typically attend them, there's a push to get some of these older historical headstones cleaned and more visible for people that are going to come visit. So they also talked about a cleaner that's approved by Arlington National Cemetery, which is called D2. That you spray on with like a backpack sprayer, and it just, you don't have to rinse it or anything. It just works and cleans the stones. So anyway, I passed that information along to Keith, but I'm trying to get us in the America 250 to potentially apply for some grant money to get some of our historical stones cleaned at the cemetery. Doesn't necessarily have to be Revolutionary War. I'm sure there's Civil War as well that we have. So it's just going to give us an opportunity to hopefully get some funds and maybe get some of these older stones reconditioned. The legality of it is if you can't find, from what they said up there, if you can't find a living descendant, the cemetery has the right to try to clean the stone and get it where it cleaned up. If there is a living relative, obviously you need to get approval from them. But if we're going back a couple hundred years, it's going to be a little tough to find, potentially tough to find some living relatives. I mentioned it earlier, we're working on our software update. It's going to cost us somewhere between $14,000 and $15,000. Their projected start date for our cemetery software is April at this point in time. Bob and Keith have been working to update our database, the information that they have, so we can, it's a smooth transfer in. They're finding some interesting things so far as they've worked their way through the records of sections being named multiple things, and yeah, they're working their way through that. So they're solving, hopefully they're solving the issues we have now. That way we can just implement it or get it moved in and be able to be up and running. With the new software, we're going to have a website. We're going to have ability with the website to take credit card payments for lots and services that we provide, so which we are currently not capable of doing. So we're hoping that would be a funding source for us that people can pick graves, buy graves on their credit card, and move the process up a little bit faster. Tonight at the meeting, we hired Pat Tanruther, who is a former German Township employee. I believe she had Shauna's job at one point years back. So she's taking over for Bob Rohrbach's part-time office job. Bob is staying on as a fiscal officer, and he's going to work and train her in the office and what they do. And she's also going to play a key role, hopefully, in getting our information transferred into our new software. It's all timing out pretty well with the software coming in. Pat Tanruther's going to come in as well, and hopefully learn the system and be able to streamline and make what we're doing more efficient. I already mentioned that.
Well, before you move on.
Sure.
I'm sure Bob's fully aware of this, but just as a reminder, since she's a former OPERS employee, there are some nuances as she comes back into OPERS.
She she has been hired through her LLC.
Okay. So a non-OPERS.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yep. Much like Bob's currently doing. So,
Understand.
yep, she's been hired through her LLC. She starts next Wednesday, I believe, is her start date. Back to the OTA, I'm happy to say all four of the elected officials, all four of your elected officials were there, and I think that's important. It's the first time since I've been here that that's happened, and I believe. And Shauna and Mr. Jacoby were there as well. I saw you from a distance. I couldn't get over to you, but I think we were in the same one for the House Bill 315, which I'll get to in a second. I had it on mine tonight to sign up for Amazon, but we'll continue to look into what you've come up with as well. Like I said earlier, they said free membership as long as the OTA was in partnership. They're using all 1,308 townships as the reason we're getting the best buying power.
Who's paying for that?
The OTA. Yep. Yeah, they said it was a $1,300 savings per year. I'm not sure where they came up with that number.
What it's costing them compared to what, $139 per entity, probably,
I don't know.
if you had profit.
$139 a month, is that what they're charging?
No, it's $139 a year.
Yeah, so they said over $1,000 per township in savings. I don't know. Maybe that was with the products that they're buying too, if they factored it in. I'm not for sure. I had a chance to speak with Waste Management about bidding on our next trash contract. They seemed interested. They do have a requirement though. If they do win the bid, that they would require us to use the can that they provide because they have automated trucks. So if we switch to them, everyone would have to get a trash receptacle or container from Waste Management. They have to use that.
Is that an additional charge?
No, built in.
Okay.
But they did say if for whatever reason a wheel falls off or it gets damaged, they just come out and switch them out. So that's just something we'll have to keep in mind.
You can't put an additional can out there. Probably.
You would have to get it through them, and now that I didn't get to it with them to see if there was an additional.
I'm just saying
charge for that.
if you had extra can 1 week,
Right.
which I do quite often.
Because I asked because people don't. I mean, some people don't even put it in cans, but they're coming with the arm on the truck, and they want their cans that they know it can grab. And
Interesting, because Rumpke stated very much they did not want to use automated equipment because efficiency wise, it's not the best use of that equipment.
okay,
Given, you recall that discussion with
yeah,
the Rumpke lady. She said, they use them in concentrated.
yeah, because we're so spread out here. So I don't know. That's just one of their stipulations because it is automated pickup. The drivers don't have to touch anything, which I think they said was safety and all sorts of benefits for them.
And cuts down the number of personnel on the truck.
Right.
The recyclable guy is automated at my house anyway.
Really? With Rumpke? Interesting.
I'll switch over to House Bill 315, which takes effect on April 2nd. It was presented by a representative who was a township trustee bordering us in Madison Township in Butler County, Thomas Hall, and then Representative Seitz as well. Several things that they had put in this bill that will pertain to us is meeting notices effective April 2nd will no longer need to be printed in the newspaper if they are posted on the township website and social media. So as long as you're posting if we're posting our meeting notices on the website, you have to also do it on the Facebook page.
You have to do it on all your social media.
They said one. It has to be the same one every time.
And I heard that we have to do it on all of them. So if you have a Twitter, you got to do it on Twitter. If you have an Instagram.
No, they said one. So it's going to be our main one, which will be the township one, the Facebook township page. So starting April 2nd, you no longer have to post in the paper. That goes into effect.
But she'll still need to do it for her hearing next month.
Yeah,
And I still use that same process for what I just did for the financial report.
okay,
Recognizing, I believe it's optional, you're still allowed to use a newspaper.
yes.
Why do we want to spend that money?
It's cost savings. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Save our taxpayers money for better uses.
And that goes into effect April 2nd. Zoning it can impose civil fines instead of criminal fines now. Is there anything else you wanted to add from the HB 315?
There was quite a bit. I'm just not prepared to do it.
Okay,
Yeah, there was one circumstance too, which
Could you give your name and address,
I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Jacoby?
called me out. For Jacoby 12955 Harris Road. There is one situation that is required to still be put in.
It is if you are revoking a conditional use for aggregate mining.
yes,
Very specific.
very specific. So I
didn't hear you, Ms. Clark.
Yeah, the one time that you have to publish it in the newspaper is if you are revoking a conditional use permit for surface mining.
So not all BZA cases. See, I kind of understood it was all BZA cases.
Well, one session I was in said BZA still has to do it, and then a different session I was in said, nope, only unless it's surface mining. That was another question I think I was gonna shoot to Anu and be like,
Yeah,
what if clarify this?
yeah.
and we have a couple months, but
Yeah,
that would save you some headaches.
it would be
too.
great.
So. But it was very informative and both of those representatives were former township trustees and I think they're pushing again this year for next year for another township bill to hopefully make our lives easier.
I think they do one in every legislative session,
Right.
a
So,
township omnibus. bill.
yeah. I already talked about America 250. The city approved John Skapiak and Robert Triver for the cemetery and the fire EMS boards. Last thing I have is February 1st was Ohio Township Day. Ohio townships are township governments are the most efficient form of government. They also receive the least amount of funding typically. And across Ohio, townships maintain more miles of roadway than ODOT. So one of the fact sheets that the OTA had put out was 35% of the population of Ohio lives in townships, but they only receive 2.7% they only spend 2.7% of the government spending in the state. So, so there you go. Smallest form of government. We're doing the most with the least amount of revenue. So that concludes my report. Does anybody have any old business or new business? I would like to make a motion to adjourn at 8:03.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned at 8:03. Thank you.
You guys picked a good meeting to come to because these usually